tone it down was a big one. We don't want you going into these studios with these rappers and, you know, you're blonde and people think certain things about blondes and you're really bubbly, so tone that down. Maybe talk a little quieter. Don't wear pink. Don't wear your hair extensions. Don't wear your heels. And I said, okay, so I'm gonna wear more pink, more heels. Okay. And so I very much, but that's just who I am. I was like, well, you're not a woman. Why would I listen to you?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
You know, this is my first time on the Dent stage, and I was really excited to be tying with Julian, but then he upstaged me this morning, so now I have to figure out a second way to get back on this stage so that we can, he's always one step ahead, aren't you, Julian? It's true. So I was expecting to introduce you.
You still can.
I will. So it is an honor and a privilege to be able to introduce you right now because you have accomplished so much in your career. You've faced so many roadblocks as a woman entertainer and a woman music producer, but also because I've looked up to you since I was born. And
well, same. We grew up together, in case you guys haven't put that
we grew up
together.
This is like magical, like aligning of stars moment for us to be here. But what I wanted to say is, oh my gosh, I've lost my place. You are the only woman in the century to debut at #1 for Billboard hip hop charts after producing back-to-back singles with artists Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion. And now, again, you've produced for Shania Twain.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yes, Shania, the queen.
We love.
Yes.
So I guess let's just roll into what we've been wanting to talk about, which is what has this last year looked like for you, and what has that journey been like?
Well, it's been pure insanity, as you can imagine. It's been a really special time because I really experienced that breakthrough year that you hope you'll get as a creative, but you're not sure if you will. And I want to take you guys back and set the stage because I think the story of how it came to be is really the magical part of me having experienced it. So we go back, it's June of 2022. At this point, you know, I'm a professional songwriter, artist, producer. I'd been signed for a couple years, and I was just having those classic, like, almost really cool things happening, and then something would happen, and the opportunity would fall through.
Yeah.
So by about the 10th time or so, or more of that, you do start to get discouraged. And
burnt out a little bit.
Oh, so burnt out because I don't even think I took a vacation. Once I signed, I was like, I need to prove myself. And
we all know the value of PTO now.
Yeah,
taking their time off.
As a musician, that's not even a thing. Yeah. So I, at that time, had just gotten invited to play my first stage festival at LA Pride. So I was gonna be opening for Christina Aguilera, and we're putting together a whole stage show, which was, you know, dancers and choreography, and I grew up as a dancer. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna take a break from being in the studio 8, 12 hours a day, and I'm gonna just have fun for a little bit. I'm gonna put together the show, and screw it. Like, I'm so fed up with trying so hard to achieve. I'm just gonna have fun. So instead of going into the studio every single day, which I was doing, I told my team, hey, I'm gonna go in 4 times in the month of June, and
how did they respond to that?
Oh, terribly. But they know me, and once I decide on something, that's it. So yeah, they didn't like it at all, but I was like, I just have a feeling about it, just, you know, trust me. So I go into these sessions, and one of them I randomly was like, I have this idea. Let's flip an old song because there's a very rich history of sampling in hip hop.
Yes.
And a bunch of label A&Rs had been asking me to flip songs. So I was like, I have this idea. Let's go in and flip, you know, maybe a Rick James song, something really iconic that could bridge generations together. So we go in, and we're just having a blast. And before you know it, within the span of a month, this song, we write a hook on it, we build the production, which I will be breaking down later for you all, so you'll get to hear it.
You get to see behind the curtain.
Oh, it's so glamorous. Yes, and so we did that, and then just kind of overnight, Nikki hears it, writes it, all of this is happening, and it's going so fast.
And it was a moment where you had already hit this sort of wall, this burnout wall, and you were like, I'm just going to let it go. And I think this goes back great with Gary's presentation about drawing with your eyes closed.
Exactly.
Where it's like, our inhibitions are gone now, we're just gonna let it happen.
Yep. And I think too, because I was so in the headspace of putting together my stage performance, I was really thinking of music at that time too, of, is this something I would perform to? Is this something I would dance to? I grew up dancing, and then I was all SEC dancer in college, dancing in stadiums for 100,000 people at a time. So I was always thinking, what would be that pop moment for them? So I went into it, I was like, let's just have fun. And I didn't care. And then the next session I did was with some new people I hadn't worked with before. And oftentimes when you're producing, sessions will go different way depending on your goal. But this particular session, our goal was to create a series of productions to send off to Megan Thee Stallion. And we knew she was on tour, and so we went in and we did like 3 ideas. And we're trying really hard to impress each other because none of us know each other. And so about the last hour, I kind of had this feeling where I was like, these are all good, they're solid, but I don't know if we've hit the thing yet. And so I had heard this tip from another musician who had had a bunch of hits, and one time they said, in that last hour, like we always try to do a Hail Mary idea. Next session, just see if you can catch the vibe that everyone's willing to stay a little late.
Throw it on the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah, so I said, hey guys, let's just give it a half hour. Let's just do something, whatever, first thing you have in your laptop, let's just build it out real quick. We'll be out the door, we'll go get dinner. So I randomly pulled up this house bass line, which if you're into genres at all or music, it's, just cross-genre pollinating. Sometimes it can be risky. So it wasn't typical for us to attempt a hip-hop beat over that bass line, but we thought, hey, it's the Hail Mary idea. Who cares? Let's just try. So we did it, and same thing. Within a week, Megan heard it. The song comes together. Both of these songs happen to come out on the exact same day, which is also just kind of wild timing-wise. As this is happening, I've just played LA Pride as I find out these 2 records are coming out. So I'm on a high. One of my records for my artist project starts going viral on Instagram and TikTok, which, like it or hate it, it's a part of the music industry now, and it does matter. So that's all happening while this is happening, and then the Nicki song debuts at #1, and all of a sudden, overnight, I'm just in this position to where I'm getting texts saying, oh, you made history. And I'm like, oh, I made history? Okay, I guess I have to be a leader for women now, and I hoped it would be here, but my gosh, the moment's here, and you're not prepared, and what do you do?
And we will touch more on you dealing with that sudden rise to fame. I want to go back a little bit, though, and talk about your roots in music and where your love of music started and how you got to this point in your career, in your life.
So the funny thing about my journey is I did not intend. I think I would have loved if I was a kid if you would have told me, oh, you're going to be a musician. I would have died to know that was what was going to happen. But I had fully intended on going to law school, and that was my whole life. And
a real Elle Woods moment.
Oh, absolutely. So I grew up in Olympia, Washington, so an hour south of the Robacks. And I had an uncle who was truly a piano prodigy and played like rock and roll and country on piano. And there's some picture at some point that'll pop up where I'm really little and he's the guy playing the piano. So I remember hearing him play piano and feeling something and being like, oh my God, what is this? How can I create this feeling for people? And so from a young age, I started playing piano. I taught myself, started taking lessons, did competitive classical stuff, and then was also very into dance. So I started dancing 30 hours a week, doing competitions, and I had this whole, I was a creative girly, but then at the same time, both of my parents were construction workers. Blue collar, I saw them come in every day, exhausted.
Hardworking.
Just beat up. I mean, they're working 60 hours a week, and they really instilled in me and my sister, to be academic, to use your brain. If you use your brain, as everyone here knows, you'll have that your whole life. It's so much different than using your body. And there was also a follow your dreams thing going on too, but the academic pressure I saw as my avenue to kind of advance my family.
Yeah, and,
so,
and you ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Vanderbilt.
I did, yeah. So I was just a big nerd, absolutely. And I kind of had my secret creative life that I didn't really let people at school know all that much about. And I ended up applying to Vanderbilt University, got a full academic scholarship, which was huge for my family because, oh my God, I didn't know how we were gonna pay for it, you know? So we go to Vanderbilt, I auditioned for dance team, I get to be captain of dance team, which was really fun. And then my senior year, it comes that time where you're like, okay, fun's over. I need to decide what I'm doing. So I had applied to law school, was accepted to law school, and I was, for fun, taking this songwriting class because I had fulfilled all my credits. So I'm like, oh, sure, I'll go take the songwriting class, and the assignment was just write a song, play it for the class.
Right.
So I do that. It was probably terrible. I still remember it. It's so embarrassing. But the professor pulled me aside afterwards and goes, hey, you've got the thing. And she was like, I know you're like a Vandy student, you've got this whole plan. And she was like, but can I just get you an internship on Music Row, which is in Nashville, where all the music, if you've seen the show Nashville, you know, but music publishers and labels.
It's true to life, the show Nashville.
She said, let me get you an internship there and just go see if you like it. So I go in, I'm the front desk girl. It's where I meet Jeffrey East here, or if you guys know him, he's a phenomenal artist.
He was artist-in-residence a couple years ago.
He was in Santa Fe. Very prolific and just amazing. But anyways,
it's about you.
It's about me.
It's about you.
But
Jeffrey's fine.
Yeah. So I'm front desk girl, and I'm sitting there in between all of the songwriter studios. So I am learning how to create songs completely informally from eavesdropping, and then befriending them and convincing them all to let me steal their gear after hours. I procured a key. It was highly not good intern behavior. I procured a key. And I would go in after hours because I was like, what is this producing thing? It makes you so powerful. You can create anything you want. So I started learning to produce, and then something in me as it came closer to graduation, I was like, I'm going to pursue this path because I didn't know this was a career. I had no idea.
You're a first generation, college graduate. The academic pressure, and I know there's many denters who this resonates with, where you are burdened by expectations that not necessarily your parents have placed on you, but your position you've placed on yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to make everyone proud, and I knew from a young age I wanted to definitely leave a positive impact on the world. And for me, when I looked at the world, I thought, well, who's doing that? Okay, politicians, people who work at the UN, great, I'll do that. And I'll start there, and then
And you didn't think that music was a way to change the world or make an impact in that way?
Oh no, I had extreme guilt over it. It took me honestly for this to happen, for me to, and for girls to start responding to me, for me to be like, oh, this culturally is a big deal to people, and I have a chance to really inspire a different generation of women. This is cool, and it happens to be my passion. It just aligns with my gifts. I'm happy, great. Yeah.
And this is a great segue into how you are making an impact, because this is history making. There are only 2.8% of music producers are women. It is a insanely male-dominated industry, and especially in hip-hop specifically. There's a very specific boys club culture that exists, and you go against that in so many ways. You're hyper-feminine. You are, as I said backstage, you were doing Barbie-core before it was popular. And this is your authentic self. And talk about a little bit what you were told initially when you were going into hip hop, environment.
Oh, the list that lit the fire that keeps me going. Okay, so many things. I remember the first time in Nashville, before I was signed, I knocked down just about every door trying to get people to listen to my demos, and I was told, oh, you're so talented. We don't know what to do with you. But women don't really make it in pop, especially not hip hop. You should just work for the guys. And so that was my first one, and I was like, okay, I'll prove you wrong. And then the next one was tone it down was a big one. We don't want you going into these studios with these rappers and, you know, you're blonde and people think certain things about blondes and you're really bubbly, so tone that down. Maybe talk a little quieter. Don't wear pink. Don't wear your hair extensions. Don't wear your heels. And I said, okay, so I'm gonna wear more pink, more heels. Okay. And so I very much, but that's just who I am. I was like, well, you're not a woman. Why would I listen to you?
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I just don't believe there's limits to that. I don't view people like that. So I started going into studios, and the most beautiful thing that I got to tell those people was, in that creative space, my creative peers were really just the ultimate safe space because it came down to talent and if you were excellent. And I knew that the music and my talent was excellent. And so once I went over that first round of people, you know, they vouched for me and I got invited to bigger things and I was so accepted in the room because of what I brought. And that was very healing. Not to say there weren't many instances where people were very confused, like, so who's the producer in the session? And at first I remember getting really like that feeling you get where I was like, oh, how dare they think a girl couldn't produce this? This is so misogynist. And then something in me softened and I go, oh, maybe they just haven't seen it before. Maybe there's nothing malicious here. This is brand new for all of us. So I started being really playful. And my strategy was just grace. And so I started playing with people and being like, gosh, well, I don't know, the producer's not here, I'm so stressed. Oh my God, well, I have this laptop, you know, I have production software, let me just give it a whirl. And then I'd open it up and just boom, boom, and just, you know, go crazy. And they'd be like, oh my God, who are you? And I was like, I'm the producer. Like, who do you think Malibu Babie is? And that really softened people and got them laughing, and also was kind of like, well, why did you think that? Or sometimes people still think I'm a guy, even though my name's Malibu Babie, and I picked that name for a reason.
They're like, this guy's trying to be really unique.
The other day I had a guy.
He's only into Barbiecore.
Yeah, big guy come in, he goes, oh, Malibu Babie seems like a really cool dude. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, for sure, he seems lit. Like, so I faced a lot of that.
And that's what's so excellent about you bringing this concept of like radical kindness and adding softness to industries or to just environments that are more guarded. There's a lot of walls, there's a lot of competition.
Oh, yes.
And even with the women in your industry, there's the concept of the pick me. There's like, I'm one of the guys. This is a guy's environment and I'm one of the guys. And you are saying, no, I'm one of the girls.
Yeah.
And I'm here and there's space for everyone here.
Yeah, it's a very new thing too, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. And I think that's why I'll never shy away from, like, I'm naturally a really feminine person, and I think it's beautiful because I do think that energy with masculine energy pairs really well in a creative environment. And I think everyone has been craving that, and it's been great. And it has been a struggle in the sense that, and I understand it amongst the women, there is the sense of there's not space for all of us because, I am doubted. I have to prove myself twice as much, even with these credits.
Yeah.
There's so many doors up.
And now you're seen as a threat too.
Oh, that was new. Achieving all of this, I don't think I experienced what I would call actual misogyny until this.
Yeah.
And I thought things would get really easy and all the doors would open. And that was the first time I was talked to in a way where I was like, oh my God, they're scared of me? Me? Like goofy little me? And yeah, so the threat thing is new.
First it was cute. It was cute.
First it was cute, it was let's bring her in. And now it's like, well, we don't want her to become friends with Nikki because Nikki will be obsessed with the fact that she's female. So let's make sure she won't be here in this and let's leave her out. The good thing is that I am just so tenacious that I'll just go around, I'll just find my own.
You'll take the key to the studio and let yourself in.
Yeah, so I'll just DM everyone in the world. Like I DM'd Lil Wayne the other day and I was like, what's up, Lil Wayne, what's poppin'? And he hit me back and I'm like, but his team wouldn't let me get in with him. So I thought, whatever, I'm just gonna DM Lil Wayne. So that's me in a nutshell. I'll just find a way. I'm hoping people will continue to soften, and I hope that the girls will keep teaming up together.
Change the industry.
Yeah, and they're
Together.
starting to, like the younger generation of females, I think that's why to me, the success with these women has been really cool because I always, when I was creating, was like, I love male musicians. I mean, they're amazing for sure, but they've got it on lock. Like they're running it. I want to help the women and I want to be a woman.
We need to move that 2.8% of women music producers to be, I don't know, a little bit higher.
It would be great. I'm very lonely. One time I counted, I went 9 months without seeing another girl in the studio. And when I saw another female, a writer, it was a songwriter in the studio with me, I didn't realize like how much like tension I was holding in my body, and I was like, oh, hey, girl. And I was like, I got to talk about fashion. I was like, oh my God. It's because, you know, the boys are so funny. They're very like, what do we do today? And I'm like,
you gotta have your hip hop persona. It's
like speaking different languages, which is fun for me, but yeah.
Yeah, and you're really good at that. And I know we're getting close to time, so you can get your session. But I just wanted to bring up, because it was mentioned earlier in Jason's talk, the good ideas are combinations of two pre-existing ideas. And your whole existence is sort of that, where you're this big nerd and this creative, and you use your brain, but you also use this like bright, bubbly creativity that you have to create something new, and it reflects in your music.
Yes, so we had this epiphany yesterday. So people always joke like that I'm a walking dichotomy, and that's, I think, probably my biggest strength, and also I do still get a lot of stuff from my team, still.
Yes.
Wanting me just to fit in. And like,
fit in the box, Lauren.
Absolutely not. Good luck. So I've always been a dichotomy, and we were talking something cool about all of these songs I didn't even realize until yesterday. They are all dichotomies combined. So Super Freaky Girl is old and new. Her by Megan Thee Stallion. They invented a new genre for it on Wikipedia called house hop. It's house music and hip hop. The Shania Twain record I did was a very country record. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I made it disco, because who doesn't like disco?
Disco and country.
Where everyone likes disco. I've learned that much. Everyone likes disco. Go to a wedding. You'll see. And then Barbie Girl, which, you know, I did before the Barbie movie, and before all of that, I was like, I think it would be funny to play on such, you know, the idea of what a woman should be. That's what she represented to me. And let me put just this filthy hip hop beat behind it with the sugary stuff in it and just confuse everyone. And it went viral.
And I don't want to make any assumptions, but the Barbie soundtrack leaned in that same sort of vibe, I would say.
Yes. My lawyers are, no, I'm just kidding. Hey, that's a story for another time. But so if it's cool, you guys, so at the end of the session, I have prepared, because there's just not enough time, I prepared a super special Dent mashup for you all that you'll get to see live, and you'll get to hear all of the songs. But I did want to walk you through just the production of Super Freaky Girl, if you're cool with it. Okay, I love you, Emma. You can hang here if you want.
I'll hang.
Okay.
I'll hang. I'll sit over here, though.
So, my tech gods, I will be switching now to my computer, which I pray will be great and it looks good. Okay, so what you're gonna see on the screen here is so colorful because I made it. But this is a production software called Ableton. So this is what I primarily work out of. And you know, there's big studios, you can produce all sorts of ways. For this song and in hip hop, typically you produce in the box, which is in the computer, which is my favorite way, because if you grew up playing piano, you can literally program anything to sound like anything with the magic of software. So this is probably the most simple production that I've made. Like you can see there's not a lot of audio files in here. And I think that's kind of beautiful because it really, I think in hit records, it's about mastering simplicity and doing it really well. And everything that you put into a track needs to impact and hit. And it has to serve a purpose, but it can't distract. And so that's kind of what this process was. And it, to me, is actually harder than making a big, complicated thing. So I'm going to walk you through step by step how we arrived here. And then we'll play the songs. So we started off with the sample. Who here knows the original by Rick James? Iconic. And then it was a hit again when MC Hammer did it. So we had kind of this pressure when we were approaching it of what parts do we use and how do we reinvent it so that it feels fresh, that Nikki would want to get on it. And so what we ended up going through was just sifting through all of the original files. We had the guitars, we had Rick James's voice, it's so cool. Wish I had time to go through that. But this is literally what we cut out. So I'm going to play it, just this piece for you. That's what we pulled, and we chopped it up because that was the one part of the instrument tones. We were like, we can't recreate that, and we want to honor that. So that was what we used, and from there, we were like, okay, let's build around that. So my next favorite part of the song was that famous bass line that goes down, 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 down. And we tried, believe me, we tried to make that work, but it was too busy. It sounded a little bit dated. So being hip hop, of course, it needs to be an 808. So what we did was we took an 808 sample, that big waveform, we put it in a sampler, we added some saturation to it. All of these things down here at the bottom, they're just, we call them plugins. It's just how you process a sound. So when you saturate something, it makes it really fat, or if you think of how when you saturate a photo, the colors get really bright, it's like that, but with sound. And so we really simplified the bass line down to make it feel hip hop, and this is what that sounded like. Ooh, Dent getting the 808s. But you can hear how there's this space and there's the play between the two. And that's why we chopped that sample up. So we start with that. We're like, okay, that feels pretty good, feeling good. Next obvious thing is we've got to add some rhythm. So we went in and we added what is now called our lucky clap. This sample was in every record I've had, so it's like superstitious for me, which is so dumb. But this is the lucky clap. It's so simple. There's nothing to it, but you already are like, okay. To make it snap more, we paired it with a snare that only comes in on the chorus to give you an extra punch. And when I tell you the amount of time it takes to like really select these samples and make sure that the sonic quality of them is on par with what's on the radio, that's a whole process in of itself, which we don't have time to go into. Because it does seem really simple, but the sound design that goes in, you know, Charles will be talking about sound design later. But here's what we added next, the snare. You hear how that really slaps more than just this? Oh, whoops, got excited. But adding that really builds to that. So then the next thing we added on the one was I wanted to add a modern open hat to give emphasis, and I just loved how this sample felt modern, but something about it still played well with the sample. Really easy, just great. Adds a little bit of width to the track. The next obvious step, you've got to add a hi-hat. My God, what are you doing if you don't have that?
Of course.
So I played this literally on just a little beat pad. I'm sitting on a couch just vibing. Just a hi-hat. We spent a lot of time deciding like which of these notes are gonna have the extra little bits because we wanted it all just to play along with the sample. And a lot of this is adding stuff and taking away. Like you really want, somebody else in their talk said you want like the smallest, I think it was, I don't know, it was like the smallest noticeable difference. And I really resonated with that as a musician. So that was that. In the back half of the chorus, to have it kind of pick up a little bit, we added a shuffle hat. This pattern is typically found not in hip hop, it's found in house and dance music. So kind of fun. Kind of gives it a little gallopy movement. We EQ'd out the low end here so that it wouldn't compete with the same sound frequencies. Then we started going in and adding what I like to call the sauce, which to me is just the kind of the X Factor stuff you put in that adds something to give it that feel. Some of it you don't hear. When you listen to the record, you're gonna be like, that's in there, but you feel it. So the first thing of that was this 808 cowbell, really simple. You didn't even hear it. That one beat of that cowbell, to me, made such a difference because it's a throwback sound that in hip hop was really coming back. So I knew that sound was in. City Girls is doing it, Meg's doing it, Nikki's doing it. I can add that in, and I felt like it fit the vibe. The next thing we added was this downer. It's very pop. Just on the one of the intro of the chorus. Ooh, so fun. You won't hear it at all, but you'll feel it. And then my claim to fame. I'm known for this in the studio. I'll be like, give me the mic. I'm gonna breathe. I'm just gonna breathe on the track. And I'm so glad I did, because now I can say that I'm breathing under Nicki Minaj. So we took just a sample of me breathing. It's very embarrassing. Well, whatever. That's it. How we put it in. And then, but you can kind of hear how all that's playing in. And then at that clave line as well, that goes dun, 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 dun. I couldn't believe that wasn't in the original. I was just dinking around, played that. It felt really great. So we kind of had the bass line structure then of our beat, and from there, we wanted to add a couple more things. So we were going through trying to pick, well, we want to have some of Rick James in there, but we don't want to do the part that has been done before. Obviously, it's already been done. We don't want to copy. So you know that part in the pre where he goes, she's a very kinky girl? Loved it. And we're like, why can't that just be the whole thing? So we took his vocal right here, and I'll solo it for you, and I'll take off some of the processing. Really simple, where he's doing that.
Kinky girl.
What a legend. So he's saying kinky girl. We EQ'd it, so we scooped out some sound frequencies to make it sound a little telephony.
Kinky girl.
And then we used this plugin called Little Altar Boy, hilarious name, which allows you to pitch a voice way up, and then you can totally make people sound either like a chipmunk or a demon. We opted for chipmunk. And that was the basis of the track. And then the only other real thing, there's so much we did. I'm gonna try and stick to time. I have 5 more minutes, so whew, I'm doing good. We could really dive in on each one of these, but we had a big argument amongst the group at this next part, because a lot of times in hip hop or modern day pop music, you know, in the olden days, not that long ago, it's coming back, but people would really do chords and a lot of musical changes in songs. And things, it's a real thing. And now in pop and hip hop, it's give me 4 chords and loop it over and over and over. And that in it of itself is like the kind of a Max Martin way of doing music, because it's all like a puzzle. The more that something's repeated, the more hooky it is. But we did want to give this song a moment where it changed, and we really loved that part of the song where these chords came in, and we discovered these ones with that really, I don't even know what that is, but this was in the original tape recording, and we were like, those are great. We absolutely have to use that. So we decided we were going to make that the pre-chorus, or the part that comes in right before the hook. I still don't know why we did this, but we paired it with my friend's scream. So you hear this scream right here. I don't know why. It felt right in the moment. So that's going on, and then we pulled this clip of Rick James that I just love.
It's all right. That girl's all right with me.
I mean, so good. And then, so the intro of the song, there's like this big ha 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 ha, and there's claps. But Rick James, I have to show you guys this because I will never get to tell another group of souls. He sounds insane. Check this out. We couldn't use it. Check this. That right here, guys. We couldn't do it. So again, same friend, we're like, well, you scream. We're gonna make everyone think you are Rick James. And so we took this part right here. And that scream, it sounds like Rick James.
Wow.
But it actually is my friend Sharon screaming like a goat.
Shout out to Sharon.
And it works so good. So yeah, and then from there, This is music production, guys. You have fun. We took some of the old, to give like moments of emphasis, we took some of the old drums. They weren't hitting as strong as, like with modern processing, we can make things slap you in the face, I always say. So we just put in some fills. Right there, we added some clap fills. From there, the whole rest of the song was just about adding subtle dynamics. So when you get to the verse, there's no snare. There's no galloping hi-hat. There's no 808 cowbell. There's no open hats. It doesn't sound that different. It just feels a little less hype. And typically, something I like to do is like every 4 bars provide just a small change that people will feel. So then in the back half of the verse, we brought some of those elements back in. And then we take it all out. We're just taking them on a journey, you know? They think they know what's happening. They don't, but here you have the claps. You didn't have in the intro. And that was it. So I'm so good on time. My God, you guys should have me back almost. Okay, so we have this beat, right? And this is kind of our rough day of, do it in an hour. So then we write a hook to it with our friend Lunch Money Lewis, who's an iconic songwriter. And I'd love to play you guys the original. There's explicit lyrics, okay? So there's that. I'll play you a snippet because Nikki ended up changing the post-chorus, and I think it's really cool because to hear the process of how a song becomes a record. So here was the original thing. Fun story, Lunch actually had COVID and was in a hotel room, recorded this. I think he gave it about 2 seconds of thought. So also kind of fun. So this was the demo that got played for Nikki. Yes, Emma.
I can lick it, I can ride it while you slipping and sliding. I can do all them little tricks and keep the dick up beside it. You can smack it, you can grip it, you can go down and kiss it. And every time I leave him alone, he always tell me he miss it. He wanna F, E-A-K, okay, F, E-A-K, okay, F, E-A-K.
Okay, like that was it. And so Nikki ended up hearing it, and within 24 hours, I get a phone call saying, can you listen to something? And it was Nikki rapping the rest of the songs. And it happened that she is friends with Lunch. She's a huge fan of Rick James. She'd been wanting to reinvent something. So that was that. Not that hard. Woo! So now I do have something special for you guys. And for everyone backstage, it's gonna just time out great. Don't you worry, because it's less than 4 minutes. So what I did, because there wasn't gonna be enough time for me to do everything, is I took all of the big records that have broken my career in the last year, and I've mashed them up. So you will get to hear Nikki's version of Super Freaky Girl. You'll get to hear Her by Megan Thee Stallion if you haven't heard it before. You'll hear my record that blew up, and it's really cool because they all happen to work perfectly together. Maybe because I made them. And we'll end on Shania Twain, our queen. She's the best. So what I'm gonna do now is just encourage all of you. I know you've been sitting, like, feel free, move your bodies, get some coffee, get some water, feel the vibes. Some of this I realize will not be your musical taste. That is okay. I'm making great money off of it, so what do I care? But I do hope that you feel the joy that I've put into all of these pieces. It really is my soul's purpose, I think, to infuse the world with joy and confidence and make music that people just feel like a bad bitch to. So I hope that it ignites something within you, and we're just gonna jam for a sec. Thank you so much, Dent, for having me. And here you go. We're gonna blow the 808. Now you'll hear the real version.
This is the extended version. Hey, I can lick it, I can ride it while you slipping and sliding. I can do all them little tricks and keep the dick up inside it.
So what?
You can smack it, you can grip it,
Yes.
you can go down and kiss it. And every time he leave me alone, he always tell me he miss it. He wanna F R E A K F R E One thing about me, I'm the baddest alive. He know the prettiest bitch didn't come until I arrived. I don't let bitches get to me, I fuck that man if they try. I got a princess face, a killer body, samurai mind. They can't be Nikki, they so stupid. I just laugh when they try. A thong bikini up my ass, I think I'll go for a dive. His ex-bitch went up against me, but she didn't survive. On applications, I write pressure, cause that's what I apply.
Oh my God, yes. Hey, it's fantastic. Go Jason, go Jason.
Give me cash now, making Barbie racks now. Barbie bust it down. Rubies hit me on the gram 'cause they
here's
all
where
want
we
my
vogue.
meta booty. What up on my wrist? I'm out here looking like a bully. Bully, catch me on my
We're voguing, it's her.
Watch, won't stop. I wake up and get paid. It's a brand that you can't afford.
Just the other day, I heard a hoe say, matter of fact, what could a hoe say? With a face like this and a bitch this paid? Shit, what could a hoe say? The bag so expensive, my pussy came with it. Body so nice, they be saying who did it. But everything natural, actual, factual. Prissy in the streets, but I fuck like an animal. All you hoes know who the fuck I am. From your boyfriend down to my Instagram, to all them busted ass hoes that you kiki with. I bet your jaw drop if you ever see me, bitch. I'm her. She. Take a peek, it's me. Tell your friends this her.
Left my heart at a watering hole somewhere in small town Ohio. Headed out west to Arizona, cause the East Coast feelings to go. Easy come, easy go. Got a fast car with the 90s on, not a soul on the road, but the road is home. Smiles of miles, up on my face. Yeah, cause we ain't got time to waste. Up in the giddy up, giddy up, up in the giddy up. Talk in the city, got lady in the cup. Up in the giddy up, up in the giddy up, giddy up, up in the giddy up. Talk in the city, got lady in the cup. Up in the giddy up. Okay, when you get stuck, gotta get a little love, but up in the giddy up.
And can I just say that ended perfectly at 0.00. Okay, thank you, Dent. I love you.
Thank you.
Now I shall exit the stage. Oh my gosh, we got a dance party.